Step out of the vehicle.
Is there a reason, officer?
Spread your arms. You carrying anything?
Only my dignity.
Philadelphia wakes slowly. The kind of city that remembers everything. The bricks, the corners, even the rain. They all hold stories. Some loud, some whispered. And on this gray morning, a man named Malcolm Reed drove quietly through North Broad Street, his windshield wipers ticking like a clock that refused to stop. He wasn't late for anything. He learned long ago that being early was safer when you look like him. Malcolm was 42, a man with hands that looked like they'd held more weight than words could carry. He drove an old silver Honda Accord, the kind that didn't turn heads, didn't ask for attention. Inside, a lunchbox sat in the passenger seat, neatly packed with leftover stew, an apple, and a note from his daughter. "Love you, Dad. Don't forget your smile." He didn't forget, not even on mornings like this. The rain picked up, tapping harder against the windshield, blurring the row houses and storefronts that lined the street. The world outside looked like it was melting, colors and people dissolving into one another. Malcolm worked maintenance at a local high school, fixing pipes, painting walls, replacing light bulbs no one noticed until they went dark. He liked it that way, quiet work, honest work. But underneath that calm routine, there was history, the kind that never really goes away. See, years ago, Malcolm's older brother, Raymond Reed, had worn a badge. Not just any badge. He'd been Philadelphia's youngest police chief in 30 years, a man of integrity, a man who'd fought battles in boardrooms and back alleys. Both. Malcolm never liked to mention it, not because he was ashamed, but because it changed how people looked at him. They'd start measuring their tone, their respect, like it suddenly became conditional. He preferred to earn it quietly. At the intersection of Lehigh and 17th, the light flicked yellow, then red. Malcolm stopped, glancing toward the crosswalk where a woman held her child's hand against the drizzle. A moment of calm, a father's instinct in his eyes, patient, steady, kind. Then came the flash. Blue and red lights painted the rain. Malcolm frowned, checked his mirror. The patrol car behind him flashed its lights again, quick and sharp. He pulled over slowly, his heart not racing, just tightening, like an old wound remembering where it came from. The door of the cruiser opened. Out stepped a young white officer, Officer Bradley Haynes. Maybe 30, maybe a little less. Clean-shaven, fresh haircut. The kind of man who liked authority a little too much because it made up for something he didn't have before. He approached Malcolm's window with a smirk that came too easily. "License and registration." Malcolm rolled the window halfway. The rain splattered across his arm. "Sure thing, officer." "Mind if I ask what this is about?" "We'll get to that. Just hand me your paperwork." Malcolm nodded, calm. He reached for the glove compartment, moving slow, deliberate. He'd been through this before. Always careful, always visible. Haynes watched every movement like a hawk that had already decided what it was hunting. "You from around here?" "Born and raised." "Funny. Don't see many locals keeping it this tidy. What are you? Some kind of businessman?" Malcolm smiled faintly. "Just maintenance." "Maintenance, huh? Must be nice driving this little thing around. You know, some of your people get a little too comfortable out here." The rain filled the silence that followed. Malcolm said nothing. He just looked forward. Through the windshield, through the drizzle, through the noise. That's the thing about men like Malcolm Reed. They carry storms differently, not with thunder, but with silence. Haynes circled the car, inspecting it like it held a secret. He took his time. Too much time. Maybe he thought patience was weakness. Maybe he needed to feel tall. When he came back, he leaned into the window again, his voice dripping with casual disdain. "You sure this car's yours?" Malcolm handed him the title. "It's mine." "Well, I'll be damned. You keep your papers cleaner than most folks I pull over." Malcolm didn't react, didn't rise, didn't give him what he wanted. The real test of a man's strength isn't how loud he roars. It's how steady he stays when the world tries to shake him. Haynes sighed dramatically and finally took the license back to his cruiser. Malcolm exhaled, fingers tapping lightly on the steering wheel. He wasn't angry, not yet, just tired. Tired of how predictable it all was. Across the street, a child pointed at the flashing lights. "Mommy, is he in trouble?" Her mother whispered something that faded into the rain. Malcolm looked straight ahead. The traffic light turned green, but his world stood still. Officer Haynes sat in his cruiser, the laptop light reflecting off his face. He typed Malcolm's name, glanced at the screen, and smirked again when nothing came up. No warrants, no priors, clean. That almost irritated him more. He clicked his tongue, leaned back, and muttered to himself, "Guess I'll give him something to remember." He stepped back out into the rain, hat tilted, voice sharp. "Step out of the vehicle." Malcolm looked at him through the window, calm, unblinking. "Is there a reason, officer?" "Step out." Malcolm sighed, the kind of sigh that comes from years of déjà vu. He unbuckled, opened the door, and stood slowly, hands visible. Rain ran down his jacket, glinting under the flashing lights. He stood straight, quiet. "Spread your arms. You carrying anything?" "Only my dignity." Haynes tilted his head, pretending to smile. "That's so." He patted him down roughly, tapping his pockets, his belt. "What's this?" he said, pulling out a folded paper. "My daughter's drawing." The officer opened it anyway, a crayon sketch of Malcolm and his daughter under a tree. At the top, in crooked handwriting, it read, "My hero." For a second, Haynes's smirk flickered. Then came the sneer. "You're teaching her early, huh?" "Daddy and his run-ins with the law." The words hit the air like poison. Malcolm didn't flinch, didn't give him that satisfaction. He just looked at the paper, soft eyes, hard silence, and said quietly, "You don't know what law looks like, officer." "Not really. Sometimes truth doesn't shout. It just waits, patient, unbending, until it's finally seen." Haynes frowned, stepped closer, the arrogance fading into irritation. "You watch your tone, sir. I could take you in for resisting." Malcolm looked at him. Really looked. Not in fear, but pity. "I've seen storms gentler than your pride." For a moment, there was nothing but rain between them. And maybe somewhere deep inside, even Haynes felt it. That still, cold reflection that truth leaves when it cuts through arrogance. But before the silence could settle, another voice came from behind them. "Officer Haynes." The tone was firm, steady. Haynes turned. A black SUV had pulled up behind the cruiser. The rain softened as a man stepped out, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a simple gray coat. His eyes were calm but carried authority like weight. "Sir, this is a dash. I know exactly what this is." He held up his badge. The gold caught the streetlight. The crest of Philadelphia Police Department, Chief Raymond Reed. Malcolm didn't move. He just exhaled. "Some storms end without thunder. Just recognition." Haynes froze, the blood draining from his face. "Chief Reed, I was just following protocol." "Protocol doesn't humiliate people." He turned to his brother. "Malcolm." Malcolm nodded. Simple. "Morning, Ray." For a long moment, the two men just stood there. One in uniform, one in rain. Bound not by blood alone, but by history. "You pulled over my brother." "Why?" Vehicle fit a description, sir. I was checking for—" "Don't lie," Raymond said softly. "You didn't check anything. You profiled." Rain fell harder. No one spoke. The city itself seemed to pause. Raymond stepped closer. "When you wear this badge, it's not supposed to make you feel bigger than the people you serve. It's supposed to make you responsible to them." Haynes swallowed hard, words tripping in his throat. "Sir, I didn't know." "That's the point." He looked at Malcolm, then back at the officer. "You didn't need to know. You just needed to respect." The officer looked small now, his power shrinking in the reflection of his own behavior. Raymond handed Malcolm back his license personally. "Go home, brother," he said softly. "You've done enough forgiving for one day." Malcolm smiled faintly. "Rain's good for the ground, Ray. Washes off the nonsense." Raymond nodded, watching as Malcolm climbed back into his car and pulled away, taillights glowing like embers fading into mist. The next morning, Officer Haynes stood outside the precinct, waiting for his disciplinary review. Inside, whispers carried faster than truth ever could. He'd been suspended, not for the stop, but for the lesson that came with it. Chief Reed didn't fire him. That would have been too easy. Instead, he reassigned him to community outreach in the very neighborhoods he'd once mocked. There, he met the same faces he'd dismissed, the same voices he never listened to, and for the first time, he had to hear them. Meanwhile, Malcolm went back to his quiet life. The rain had stopped, but the air still smelled like renewal. He walked through his daughter's school garden that weekend, fixing a leaky pipe, humming low. Children ran past him, their laughter bright against the wet earth. He looked up, clouds clearing, sunlight slipping through. Sometimes justice doesn't shout. It grows like roots beneath the soil, unseen but strong. For men like Malcolm Reed, dignity isn't a weapon. It's a mirror, the kind that forces others to see themselves clearly. That day, the rain didn't fall to punish. It fell to cleanse. And in that quiet cleansing, one truth remained. Power doesn't reveal a man. It only amplifies what was already there. Injustice doesn't always arrive with noise. Sometimes it comes folded in small moments. A smirk, a word, a silence too long. But grace, real grace, never forgets who it is. It waits, endures, and when the time comes, it speaks. Every story we tell is more than a moment. It's a mirror. A reminder that truth still matters, that dignity still survives, and that no struggle goes unseen. If this story moved you, don't let it be the last one you hear. Subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, and turn on notifications so you never miss a voice that deserves to be heard. Because behind every shadow, there's a story worth remembering.